mentioned, I went back and tracked them backwards and forwards. I did extensive research on it.
It's evident that you put a significant amount of time in this.
It was complicated.
It's complicated looking at this.
I intend to have it a lot simpler. When a property gets sold by me, it will have descriptions written by the surveyor. It won't be handwritten by an inexperienced
I'm
person.
not the CEO, but they'll have to deal with that, I guess, at some point. It appears that when the subdivision was approved, which was a Rossboro, per the Rossboro sketch, went through the planning board and was signed for, it looks like sometime around September of 1971. It was registered in the York County Registry of Deeds. Showed the 6 lots. It was approved by the town's planning board.
But in 1975, Rossboro didn't own the property. He'd already transferred all the ownership away.
Right, in 1971 it was approved as a subdivision by the
Okay.
town, right?
Yeah.
In that lot 1, they showed a 50-foot right-of-way the entire length of the property, which was a future roadway.
Yes, unfortunately, that future roadway right now is a drainage ditch for Route 202.
And it would appear, based on your survey, that there's now a road that cuts directly, diagonally through lot 1.
There was always a road that went through that property to access the back property. It was a dirt road. Unfortunately, it was located partially on lot number 2.
So that's been...
So after I did my survey, and after I had already improved the road with hard gravel so that I could move a mobile home into there, I ended up with a lawsuit from Orcutt for trespassing on her property and cutting 2 of her trees. I had already moved the road back onto my property to make it legitimate, but that didn't save me getting sued.
Well, I'm not sure that we're gonna...
What was the result of that
We're
suit?
not lawyers.
It was settled. My insurance company paid her $6,000 for her 2 trees and paid my attorney about 15 grand.
And what was the resolution of the property line?
There was no resolution with the property line. Property line was never an issue. It was the 2 trees that she claimed I cut.
So your proposal to us is...
I would like to purchase
Yeah.
the 50 by 100 foot, one way or the other. The issue with Railroad Avenue, if you've already got ownership rights to it and everything's kosher about the road, I'm fine with that. But to my research, unless 1971 gave you ownership of the road from Rossboro, the road is technically still owned by me.
Well, at that point, of the Rossboro survey, which you're right, was a hand-drawn-out survey by the looks of this, that went before this planning board. And it was signed by Rossboro on May 18th, 1971, and it was registered in the Registry of Deeds September 13th, 1971. I don't see a date that there were 5 planning board members that signed it, but their signatures were all on here. And at that time, that was the definition that said railroad right-of-way to Joseph Downs to Ralph Owens, and that was in book 1020, page 24. My guess is that is the driving. This approved subdivision was the driving motivation of why it was put to the town meeting to accept this road as a town road. So, by accepting the road doesn't necessarily mean that we own the property under it, right? Although most subdivisions, that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
So the two events that happened with town approval was one, the planning board approved this, it appears sometime in September of 1971, or could have been August or September. It was registered in the York County Deeds the 13th. The second instance that the town had some action was at the March 8th, 1975 town meeting, where Article 45 passed, and there was a stipulation on that passing that it be accepted as a town road, provided it is approved by the road commissioner and committee to be appointed by the selectmen. So the selectmen at that time would have probably been Dan Willett, John Monteith, and Andrew, right? Junior. So I'm not
Andrew.
sure.
No, it was,
Couldn't have been Andrew, he was on the planning, he was
No,
on
no,
the...
no, no, no. That was
If the
4 years
warrant-
later.
Oh,
That year's warrant is signed
By Andrew,
by Andrew
John,
and John.
and I think the other one
no,
was,
Andrew Woodson.
yeah, Junior. I think that was probably when Dan Willett was still on the board, whether or not he signed it.
See, I show that Rossboro sold the property to Elwin Owen in 1973. So Elwin Owen in 1975 was the owner of that road, unless you're the instrument there that created the subdivision also incorporates ownership. I'm not sure how that works myself.
Usually the road is in a subdivision, Andy is owned by the subdivider, right? It's owned in common, right?
Mhm. But usually there's a document that
Yeah.
incorporates that,
In
that
this
says so.
case, it clearly, in that approval mechanism that the planning board signed, it clearly states it's a railroad right-of-way deeded to Ralph Owen in
Now,
1944.
The 1944 deeded right-of-way was a second deed to correct the omission of the railroad right-of-way from the first deed. The actual railroad right-of-way has been incorporated into that property since the 1700s. That's
With
how
all that
Rossboro
being
was
said,
able to-
and since 75, the town of Waterboro has presumed that it is a town road, so there's
There was
some
some right
degree
of
of
right of way over it.
That's right. There's prescriptive use, et cetera, et cetera. I guess what we will have to do is, from the road, the status of the road, we're gonna have to go back to Ken or Natalie or somebody, right? And get our legal opinion of what the status of the road is. Relative to that little piece of land, the property was taken for taxes. And I'm not sure, I think it was you in 2008 that came in
I
and
did.
requested. And the real question that we had at that time was, how did we acquire it? Which I think we've now found out, or found out then, that it was in a lien process, so all we can issue would be a quitclaim deed, right? And I'm not sure why we never did anything back in 2008. Because it would appear that the question, and that's in the selectmen's minutes,
It got tabled and just never brought forward again.
right, it said, let's find out where it came from, and it says that Ellen and Dorothy Owen, March 1974, book 2030, page 42, created lot 22G. So in 1974, that lot was created, and the town took it for taxes.
and it got brought back because he brought in the, well,
But
he brought in the
feedback.
information
Right,
recently.
but there's a break. Well, why didn't we do something? I mean, other than to get tabled by the board.
The letter I got from Nancy back in 2008 said that you guys needed to do some research on it and to get back to me. About that
That's dated
time, my
June,
mom
yeah.
took sick out in New York State, and I moved out to New York State. I was out there living, and it was a little inconvenient for me to come chase them to the town hall and see what was going on.
All right.
And I kind of just, I let it slide, the town let it slide, no big deal.
Yeah, nobody was poking us to not let it slide, right? So I guess that's where
There
we
wasn't
are.
a fire under your guts, so to speak.
Well, if we tabled something, got the information, if you weren't coming back here bugging us about it, we probably weren't gonna bring it back up, right?
Yeah,
So-
if I remember right, the selectmen had asked for additional information to,
Yeah, I think it was in the minutes of our meeting.
So where are we going?
So
Well,
I
unfortunately,
think we need to, the road it's just two issues. Number one, does the town have any interest in selling the property? And I think we now know that all we really have is what interest we have in it, which is even as a quitclaim deed.
I mean, the counter question on it is that, does the town have any interest in retaining the property?
We had a second request evidently in March of 2008 by Brad Staples and Betsy Davis to purchase it, but again, it can't be used for anything.
Well, as I read the town code book, the property can't be sold because it's undersized. It can't be sold to anybody except an abutting landowner. And I also read another verse and chapter that said the town was obligated to sell such properties. That's in the zoning book, I think, about yay thick.
Well, we have an obligation, we have a right to sell property. There's nothing that demands that the town sell the properties acquired from taxes. We have an ordinance that allows us to sell them. It tells us how they're to be sold, but it also says that if it's in the best interest of the municipality to keep it, okay, that we can do that. So that would have been probably reviewed years ago after it was acquired by Conservation Commission, the Board of Selectmen, and the Planning Board, and somebody at some point in time said, you know, not to sell it, or we should hang on to it. Maybe there was some vision that phone
You know,
switches had to be
Now
there,
that
or,
we're kind of, this is kind of coming back, and Dennis and John would have been on the board at the same time too. And didn't we have some discussion because of the corner piece about line of sight?
it's discussed the two requests. This is a Board of Selectmen's meeting. It was dated 5/27, but it could have been in 2008. Discussed two requests to purchase town-owned. Need to find out how we got the lot. Guess I'm the guilty one here. Noted that it was originally a subdivision in 1971. Selectman Gale questioned it if it would fit into the auction category, which it really didn't, right? Motion by Grover, seconded by Moore, to table until we get more information. Boom, that was it. That's the last thing that we did, other than somebody pulled up the information that it was acquired by tax title. So I mean, what he's interested in using it, I don't think he can't put a garage out onto that property, other than it just gets absorbed into that lot. Right? I mean, if you look at his, I'm just concerned with, then goes over to the code office of, now you get a driveway that diagonally goes through the whole piece of property, and he's going to have to work around whatever that is to position the structure.
Well, I think you misunderstand what you're looking at. I think I'll show you this. It's the full page of what we've got here. This piece here
Yep.
is all part of this. It was never transferred by ownership.
Doesn't matter whether it was transferred or ownership, it is a defined lot by subdivision in this municipality.
Okay, so after this lot was defined lot, this piece was sold off.
No,
It
never
was
gets sold.
retained.
It's retained.
Split away
Yep.
from it.
Yep.
So if it was split away from it,
See, I don't think-
it would be able to be put
Yeah,
back.
my belief is that piece of property probably legally never should have been defined out of the subdivision without the approval of everybody in this subdivision. Because you can't change that subdivision without the approval of everybody in the subdivision.
Well, that subdivision was changed many times.
I don't disagree with you, but I believe, and Andy can speak to
The
that.
other
I think,
map says that that lot is a lot in common with the other residents, so they would have had to vote it to do it.
Yeah, but my lawyer's telling me that even though the subdivision says it's in common with the other tenants, because of the way they sold off these lots, it violated the subdivision plan, as you say.
Oh, okay. And I suppose we can...
Well, if it wouldn't
So
violate
is
the
that-
subdivision if in fact that lot was defined in the subdivision. If that lot was defined in the subdivision and there were 6 lots specifically in that subdivision,
Which
right,
there is.
which there is, which was approved by the planning board, and let me get the thing up on my screen here. And it was a John Rossborough, who was a certified surveyor. He and it was a kind of a pencil sketch, but
Okay, now here's
his seals on it.
Here's
Right.
another caveat for you to look at. When John Rossborough sold these pieces off,
Yeah.
they put a well from this property back here. So this guy received another deed, which was 40 foot by 150 foot.
Which is fine.
And the deed said that it was in exchange for his interest in Lot 1, if any.
Well, in this approved subdivision, Lot 1 says land in common with lot owners.
Was that lot 4 with the addition?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it shows it on
and
the
that showed it
subdivision.
on the subdivision
Yeah.
plan. So that may very well have been one of the first lots, I'm not sure. Who was that? That's, okay, that was Gooch originally, right? Bruce and Karen Gooch, and now White.
So basically what you're saying is that if this lot is in common with all these people, then I can't build on it.
I guess that's what the subdivision says. I don't know what the legality, I mean, you certainly have put all kinds of money in, and I think we ultimately, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure what interest the town has in this anymore, other than that when we discussed it originally, we talked about, you know, it's a nice sized thing if there's going to be a phone switch or something of that nature that goes in there, but that's probably not going to happen now in these times. So the town has no interest in owning it other than it's sitting there. So, but if we go through the exercise and said, okay, here's the opportunity for us to transfer ownership to you, you've got to come to peace with whomever you got to say, can I build on that lot?
Well, I've already had lawsuits for this individual and this individual. I've reported this individual for hunting and putting a deer stand and running a feed trail from his backyard to the deer stand. So I'm not likely to get any kind of help anywhere from these people.
So I'm not,
Especially these ones here. These ones here clear cut a half acre of my woodlands down here in the wetlands. And I ended up with a 3-year lawsuit and a lawyer who screwed it up totally by not including that it was in an environmental zone.
and the other concern that I have is in this, we just talked about this with the road
Yeah,
commissioner.
the turnaround's not here.
There's supposed to be a turnaround there, and
That's where the Dept road is.
Yeah, and that's what the road commissioner was in a couple weeks
That's
ago.
right.
Yeah.
So,
if the town has no interest in retaining it, then, anything that he does with it after we sell it, that's his issue, not ours. We've sold it, we're out of there. And it becomes a planning board or
His
issue.
How can we convey a piece of property to an individual that is land in common with the other residents?
that wasn't in common because Ellen specifically culled it out of when he transferred and sold out of this subdivision, which is all the deed notes that we've got here. He retained that, okay?
Okay.
retain that piece of property. And again, so somebody came in here and said, whoops, we now got 6 lots plus a little bit, right? So we got 7 lots that have been defined. Surely, not on the subdivision plan that's recorded in Elford, because that's the one that Waterboro drew up. That lot's not defined in that.
So what are we gonna do here?
The chair would like to recognize the
That?
gentleman from the planning
Is it?
board.
Is
It
it?
is defined, yeah.
I don't know a lot about this
Right there.
particular
My God, it is.
instance.
And it's cut off on our
So-
page,
so
but
it-
right
so
here
it
it's
is
50
defined
by
in that
100.
law.
Yeah.
But it's not defined as a lot. It's just dotted lines on a map.
Because, it's cut off on here, Dennis, but you can see it says something 50 by 100 Owens. It's cut off at the bottom of the page. Go down to the
Oh, okay.
hand-drawn map.
Okay, for the,
See?
Oh, it is,
Yeah. It's like
for the
cut off.
purpose of discussion, the chair is going to recognize the gentleman from the planning board.
Nancy Corey from the planning board. From my knowledge, you also have adverse possession laws that would come into effect here. If someone's used a piece of property for a certain amount of time, they have rights to it. They acquire rights to adverse possession. This is a real, in my opinion, a real bag of worms. You really need to get legal counsel. You could be held responsible, in my opinion, if you sold something that you didn't have legal rights to, or if you released it.
And if you want to talk adverse possession, I've owned that property since 1991, and I have maintained complete ownership of it and prohibited any of these people
I've
from using it.
I've heard 3 or 4 lawsuits, but I've never heard the result of who actually owns it.
I tried, and I could not get the lawyers to address that issue.
Because they don't really know. Is what I'm getting at. It's
Rossboro
a
left
big,
me
it's a
with
big
such a
mess.
screwed up mess.
I
That,
think
you
we
know, I already
asked
spent
Roger. We asked
multiple
Roger,
money
can we
on
sell
this.
the property? And we can, it's tax acquired property. All we're gonna do is give a quick claim deed.
No liability, no
No,
responsibility.
that's
no
right.
nothing.
Only what interest
I'm
we
not saying we
have.
own it, because whatever rights you do have, you don't.
So I, you know,
This is a twofold thing, though. That the sale is contingent upon apparently railroad.
I say we keep that right out of the mix, because
Railroad Drive's a separate issue for me. I'm just pointing out that to what I've researched, the town doesn't own Railroad Drive. They don't have the necessary.
well, we've got a town approved road there.
But can the town be sued?
I did see a road
that
on
If
it.
your action causes someone to be landlocked or not be able to use a right of way out,
No,
It's-
it doesn't do that.
it doesn't do that.
But,
It's
you
just a
know,
little piece of land over on a corner of a lot that,
if this is supposed to be a property that's in common with the lot owners, can we legally, I guess my question, Nancy, would be, can we legally sell it to one person when the subdivision deed says it's a lot in common, or do we have to sell that to all of the people in that subdivision?
If you could amend a subdivision plan.
Well, you might need to have the other people in the subdivision say they're not
You get
interested.
what I'm saying?
I think it's a question to Natalie or whatever and say,
Yeah.
listen, this is what we've got, you know, certainly has shared his document with us. If we can grab a copy of that we can get to our lawyer, and it's gonna be as simple as that. We have an interest in this lot. It is a tax lien. We'll have to get the date that it was lien. That's it.
Were we talking that little dinky piece?
This
Yeah,
little
this
piece
piece
right
right
here.
Oh, not that whole green.
No.
No,
Supposedly,
this little 50 by 5,000 square feet.
Yeah, but that, what that makes this part of is this larger lot,
Yeah.
which supposedly, according to the subdivision plan,
Is
is
a
supposed to be a
land in common.
lot, a land in common, but which
Well,
this gentleman is
the thing I'm
saying
going
he
on
owns.
Yeah.
Dan, what's his name?
Dana Libby.
Libby. Okay, Dana Libby did the survey work. Now, according to Dana, I own lot 1. Because of the way the deeds were parceled out and the way the subdivision was busted up, and none of the rules of the subdivision were followed, he said it made everything void. And I own lot 1. Simple.
I think,
Now, you said that if this is common, then how can you guys own a piece of that common lot? It was illegal for him to parcel it
See,
off.
what I don't understand, it's okay, anybody drops it off. What I don't understand is that there were, this is very specific, this Rossboro law. It shows lot 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? Doesn't even talk to lot 1. Lot 1 is drawn out here and shows that there's a future roadway, a 50-foot right-of-way reserved for future roadway. Then the rest of it says land in common with lawn owners, Pine Grove, right? In the very small corner of it, which we can, it's kind of hidden the way that this is, it says that there's a 50 by 100 Owens, whatever that says, I'm not sure what it says.
But you've got this, it says
But
lot,
why didn't
plot,
this,
land,
why didn't this
lot
get
number.
another lot number?
Well, it says lot number 1
Right,
to be
but
reserved and developed as
You
land.
get a lot number in the tax system. There's not a lot number on this drawing.
Sure there is. It's lot 1.
I know.
And then down here it says lot 1 to be reserved and developed as land in common.
Well,
Except for that 50 by 100 foot. I'm not sure.
I hate to be redundant as of 2008, but I think that this issue is just too complex for us to make a decision, and we really ought to refer it to the town attorney for some advice. I mean, I know that that's not,
I guess I would make the motion that pending approval and review by the town attorney, we would consider selling this tax-acquired piece of property for his request.
I will second it.
okay, the motion's been made and seconded to allow the sale of this property to this gentleman, James Triance, contingent upon the opinion of the town attorney regarding that portion of property.
And then we can we'll have to bring it back and have some discussion of
Right.
what it's worth.
Is there any discussion on the motion? No, good.
Fine.
Okay, seeing no further discussion on the motion, all those in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried 4-0.
We'll get it to our attorney and we'll get back to
Christina, so that this doesn't slip through the cracks,
infamous cracks.
would you put this on the follow-up? The pending, yes, pending decisions, thank you. Thank you for your patience, sorry.
And then we'll let you know. I got you, I think you left me your cell number in the file, so we can let you know when it's coming back.
I'm living in Waterboro now, so.
Oh, okay.
No problem.
If there's,
Okay.
I mean, I know we get pictures of that map, but if Natalie needs to look at that map, because he's got everything called out on that map, everything.
Deed references and plan references.
We can probably take a high-res
Rossboro's
photo
not
of
the
it,
only plan reference. There's
Digital camera.
several others involved.
then we can put it up on the screen and everything.
Okay.
If you don't mind sticking around for a minute, he's going to take a high-res image of that.
Not a problem.
Okay.
On the issue of the road, where are we at with that?
Right now, the town it's a town-owned road. I mean, it's a town-accepted road, which was done in at a annual town meeting in 1975. Unless somebody says, I own it, I think it stays the way that it is. The town is, we certainly have public easement over it. We've got, we plowed it, sanded it, maintained it for 20, 35, 37 years now.
I mean, my father-in-law was the road commissioner then.
So
He's
I
been
think
passed
it
away
becomes,
for about 15 years.
Restrictive use or whatever, however you get into all those terms, but I think it is what it is. It's a town,
So you don't pretend the town already has valid ownership rights to the
Well,
property?
I know we've had a valid vote to accept the road as a town road. And we've done that in multiple subdivisions around this municipality over the years.
Does your tax bill show that you've been paying taxes on that road over these years? That property?
My tax bill up until a few years ago, after I got the survey done and was able to go in and show the tax man exactly what was what, read 20 acres. So, and it was based upon the old deed, which gave me ownership of everything minus what was sold. So properties that had been sold out of the big parcel were excluded, and the deed that I received was gone back since Owen first purchased the Waterboro project, as I call it, and then started building houses on each of the lots and selling them off. As far as I know, I've been paying taxes on the road. It's all included.
So are you content with your tax bill?
Currently, I have it fixed. We went down and showed them the survey, and it's got the exact acreage of what I own, and we were able to establish changes in
I
the
don't think
tax
it's been
bills. But
being
for
taxed with it.
almost 20 years, I was paying taxes on 20 acres, and I didn't own 20 acres.
But we don't have to necessarily own the property for it to be a town road, as long as we have an easement over it. You know, for example, Eon Way, we don't own the property, we
But
have
it's been
an easement
accepted,
over it,
and
and it's
it's
a
been
town
accepted
road,
as a
so
town.
Yeah.
we don't have to own the property for it to be a town road.
I know that when we were discussing this earlier, there was a question about the land
I'm taking pills.
next to Gary's garage.
Needed to take them a lot sooner than now.
All right. Well, thank you very much for,
Okay?
so,
So I'll wait to hear back from you on,
yes, we will call you when we have some type of answer from the town attorney.
okay?
We'll reconvene this matter, and it'll be posted on a subsequent agenda because we're going to have to vote on the sale. So,
Okay, so if it turns out that lot number 1 is in common with all those landowners, basically I'm not going to be able to use that lot for anything other than travel across.
I don't know.
If I'm not, if I'm being taxed on that lot, because that's part of the tax bill, and I can't use it, then we're going to have to change that around too.
Let's see what our attorney says.
Yeah.
Okay,
On this issue, I think we want to take one step at a time because
I'd kind
it
of
is-
like to get it all solved out and
Oh, I think
get this
I think
mess
it's
cleared.
solvable, but I think we just need to do it gradually so we have a complete understanding, because we're trying to unravel what, you bet you said back in the 1700s, we're trying to unravel 200 years of deeds and transfers all the way up through from the railroad in, 1 hour at a selectmen's meeting, and
Yeah.
I just don't think that that's
Who is the town attorney?
It's
Ken
Jensen,
Cole and
Jensen,
Jensen,
Baird,
Baird,
Gardner
Gardner,
and Henry. they're
Gardner
all
and
from-
Henry, and,
Jensen,
Jensen, Baird, Gardner, and Henry.
okay.
They have offices in Portland, they got one down in Kennebunk.
I don't believe I've ever had anything to do with any of them. Very good.
Okay,
I'll let you get on with the rest of your
Thank you.
business.
Thanks.
All right. Take care.
I always do.
Next item, update on the public service announcement project.
Well, I guess Clint has been ill recently, so
here's what Clint and I talked about a couple of weeks ago, but he has been out. So this is what we
Is this
intend
a
to do.
storyboard or?
So you can take
Thank
that,
you.
digest it, do whatever you like, but we're going to try to wrap this, we're going to try to wrap a little bit of Eco-Maine into this. And Eco-Maine has a number of videos that I think that Dave can help patch into this thing, so
I don't know if that
Great.
looks like you.
not bad, huh? So there you are. And as soon as we really know whether Clint's up to it, we'll, because I think what we'd like to do is to just have he and Pat, we'll start the whole process down there in front of the little fireplace.
Great, this
In
sounds,
July.
Yeah, in July.
sounds very
You
informative.
can toast marshmallows.
Well, maybe David could put some, Photoshop some snow
we can-
falling out the window or something.
Okay, are we good on that?
Sounds great.
Okay, moving right along then, item 3, discuss and vote to establish an ordinance on funding and maintenance for dry hydrants and cisterns.
And all this, because it's, I've been kind of, visited a few cisterns around and realized, man, this is really kind of a complicated mess, is who owns it, and then keeping it filled, and I mean, you have a 10,000 gallon cistern, or use 10,000 gallons out of a $30,000 gallon cistern. You got to fill it up. You got a truck making 10 deliveries of water. That's cost and time expensive. So we need to, before we build more cisterns, there's about, from what I understand now, about 7 or 8 of them out there now. Some of them are not functional. So one, what are we going to do with those cisterns that we have? Who's responsible for maintaining them? And then where does the budget go? Does it go into the fire department? Does it go into a Department of Public Works, or if we go in that direction? Then the future is building more subdivisions out away from water. Do you require a cistern? Then who manages it? Then you need to get the homeowners responsible for managing it. And you know, it could get complicated enough that you drill a well next to the cistern so the well fills it up. Anyway, that is something that it's more complicated than I think we want to deal with without a report, let's say, from, I would suggest something, a collaboration between the fire chief, between our town planner, and maybe CEO. And if we direct those people to come up with an ordinance as to the future of cisterns and dry hydrants, and what we do have, who's responsible, and how do we get them, how do we maintain them?
Well, it looks like Matt and or Lisa provided something here, right?
Yeah,
I guess, and I don't know where 8.7 fire protection comes from, whether that's supposed to fit in the zoning ordinance or not, because there's no 8.4, so, or 8.5 rather. But a cistern only happens because the planning board requires it, all right?
yeah.
So if we're gonna put something in relative to the expectation of who manages the cistern, or when it goes in, and according to Matt here, he's got, you know, if there's more than 5 houses, it's gonna be 30,000 gallons, et cetera, it really needs to be Matt in the town planner and the planning board to sit down and say, once the planning board has said to a developer, you have to put a cistern in, there has to then come something that says, okay, who's going to maintain it? I don't disagree with you that we probably need something, I think it falls on the fire department, of who has an annual budget, whether there's funds from a developer or not, to maintain cisterns. I think that's the planning board. I mean the fire department.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, he hasn't budgeted for that over the years. Doesn't mean that he shouldn't in the future.
That's right. And I look at this as a step, several step procedure. The first thing is, rather than going to the planning board with here's the problem, is Matt and Tom and whoever else, maybe a member from the planning board, coming upon a solution, a plan for a solution, then go into the planning board with it and coming to the Board of Selectmen.
I'm just concerned, as Matt kind of puts some of this out here, and Andy is not only a member of the planning board, but also a
We had
developer.
discussion on the system
Right.
as well, and we realized there is an issue with it.
Right. But as,
You get
as,
easements when you require them to put the cistern in?
We've been talking about having the contractors bond the cistern.
Yeah. That's another, that's another way.
but when Matt gets a little bit, get away from the cisterns here, he's talking about, well, they should sprinkle houses, right? If there's more than 5 in a development. That's
Well,
nice,
I mean,
but
I
that's
talked with Tom about that too. I mean, it'd be, for fire department, for the fire issue, wouldn't it be nice to have sprinklers in all houses and businesses? However, you go down and say you will have sprinkler system, I don't want to be around the,
What's a sprinkler system add to a house?
But what you can do there is you can say, here are the options. You have an option of having a sprinkler system, or be on town water, or you need to be have access to a cistern or a dry hydrant within. Anyway, so here are the options, and just say the town suggests you look into a sprinkler system, but not mandating it.
Well, we have the same situation with the hydrants, dry hydrants.
Yeah.
Because we have 2 up in Arrowhead that apparently have not been maintained and are not functional right now.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It should encompass cisterns, dry hydrants, I don't know, maybe
But the dry
wet
hydrant-
hydrants
right.
and,
There has to be a specification to
gamut.
say, if you're gonna put a dry hydrant in, are you gonna be able to pump X amount of gallons per minute for an extended period of time without sucking the brook dry, right? I mean, I think there's been, well, let's put a dry hydrant here, and so I think whether it's a cistern, whether it's a dry hydrant, whatever it is, it really has to have some meat to it, right?
Yeah, and the cisterns, I didn't realize that, okay, you got that cistern sitting out there, and it may be a 30,000 gallon cistern, and if you don't have a way of refilling it, then someone has to refill it. If you don't have a well there, that if you suck 7,000 gallons away in 5 days, it refills itself, great. Otherwise, you have the fire department going down and refilling the cistern at whose expense? So all that stuff needs to be worked out. And my recommendation here is to set it in motion and tell the fire chief and whoever else he needs on the team to come up with a plan.
I was looking for an email here, and now I can't find it. I guess it didn't get here on my phone, but they did check the cisterns this weekend, and there's 2 that's out of service.
Yeah.
So I guess my recommendation is that the town administrator get with the fire chief and the town planner and start some activity with the planning board.
Yeah.
To come up with some teeth in the zoning ordinance that addresses not only when you need it, but who's taking care of it.
Funding it, funding the maintenance.
Yeah,
And
I'm not sure the planning board is gonna get into the funding piece of it. They're gonna make the determination of when it.
Discussed it quite well.
Right.
Planning board as far as how to do it. I think in the bonding,
Bonding is.
road bonding, we had something in there about the cisterns and having the developers have to bond
Well,
the
once the
cisterns.
bond is over though, Andy, right? Then what happens, right?
Yeah, and that was the thing about it, is that how are you gonna enforce it once it expires? Cisterns are a real nightmare, because eventually it's gonna fail. And the $30,000 cistern today is gonna be the $100,000 cistern 30 years from now. And if they're owned by the town, that's a big liability.
Yeah.
And that's what the planning board was on, what do we do?
what are other towns doing? Have you gone that far to look?
From the ones that I put in, most all the towns take the cisterns. Lyman, when we did a subdivision in Lyman, town took it over. When they go down, and usually the fire department has a maintenance schedule. Once a year, they go down, they check the level on it,
Yeah,
make sure it's leaking.
that's an easy way of doing it, but you're right. 25 years down
It's
the
gonna
road,
fail.
are we leaving the town with a tax burden that
Exactly.
Cisterns, from what I see, are not a great idea. It's a temporary solution. It's like underground gas
Yeah, whatever
They,
you do.
you know,
If you
something
take-
happens
if
to
you- If you
them.
take care of it, it may last more than, if you don't, it will last
That's
more
right.
than if you don't take care of it.
Yeah, if you're not cutting the brush and you get root systems in there and, yeah, oh yeah. So, again, I don't know if the town wants a whole bunch of these things.
We don't either.
Well, I would be agreeable to Selectman Abbott's recommendation. Have the town administrator put the wheels in motion. Good, so we will move on.
So is there no vote? It's just a... 'cause
No,
they-
no vote
Okay.
at this
You
time.
just said discuss vote, so...
Yeah, I think at this point, we'll have them look into it, they'll come back with something for us, and then we can have a discussion on, once it's something more concrete.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
any,
have a
any
vote.
change to the plan, an ordinance, it's gonna come through us anyways.
Yeah, and we've gotta go through public hearing and stuff like that, so there'll be plenty of time for review. Next item on the agenda is review possible tax rate. What is the pleasure of the board?
Well,
Uh,
I think it's after hours or the assessor's gone. So.
Well, I just wanted something from Nancy on what the impact on the tax rate would be coming out of town meeting if the budget passed as presented, and we've got it in our packet. Best case, with the options, we can either go with the lowest end, which would be an increase from $12, what we're at now, up to $12.48, or if we went on the high end, we'd be looking at a tax rate of $13.11. So I wanted that figure for town meeting.
and this is just very draft because Jerry's still doing valuations.
We can't set the rate until after.
Right,
yeah,
right.
No, but I think it's important going into town meeting, knowing exactly what the impact is.
So if you took his recommendation, you know, he had 3 recommendations in here, one was $12.75, one was $12.80, and one was $13. So you're looking at a low of, you know, 6.25% increase.
Are you going off in those, that wasn't his, those are just the reports that I printed off
Yeah,
in the valuation.
But I mean, that's what I'm, if you were to say, all right, let's stick in $236,000 of overlay, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're at about a $12.80, which is a 6.6%
Okay, yes.
increase over where we are now. It's assuming that everything, you know, stays the same, and that won't. But that, the exercise that you went through includes everything, right? I mean, it includes all of the deductions for
Mhm. Town meeting, revenue sharing,
everything, right?
yes.
So that puts us in a ballpark of, as Tammy Jo says, what we can talk about at town meeting.
1248 to 1311.
And it won't be 1248, because we won't go into next year without some level of overlay.
So I just kind of did some quick math on different homes, like some of the realty sites, if you look at the last week of May, the properties that were for sale, what was the average sale price, or the average asking price was $195,400. So minimal, if we went with a minimal of $12.48, you're looking at an increase of $93.79. If you go to the high end with $13.11, then you're looking at an increase of $216.89. I think Jerry usually, if you look at a $120,000 home, you're looking at a minimum of $57.60, a high of $133.20. $180,000 home, you're looking at a low of $86.40 and a high of $199.80. And a $269,000 home would be a low of $131.27 or a high of $298.59. Numbers we've got for Saturday.
Everybody satisfied with that
That
review?
was the $13 rate is just with the overlay, it's just about in the ballpark of what we have for overlay every year.
Right. And I think we could, problem is if we drop down that overlay, then when we get back to this budget process next year, there's less I mean, it's pay me now or pay me later.
Mhm.
We're using that overlay the following year as surplus. So-
And we're not gaining on our surplus. Because
Now-
we've got, what,
I
300
I
and...
think by design, if we
50,000?
come out of this town meeting with everything that's in there, we will see the fund balance go down. Unlike this year, I think we're gonna see a little bit of a tick up in the fund balance. Based on what Chris has said.
Any further discussion? Okay, next item on the agenda is to discuss and vote to reply to the York County survey regarding funding of outside agencies. What is the pleasure of the board?
I would move that we return the survey saying that we would like the county to fund outside agencies.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to send a letter to the county stating that we would like them to fund outside agencies. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Other than it looks like they need all 29 communities to say yes if they're gonna consider it, but that's,
Well, this came about because during our deliberations on the budget committee, the budget that was presented to the budget committee did not have any funding for external agencies. The funding that had been in the previous year's budget, the county government did not give that to the external agencies. So the discussion was, do towns want the county to do this or don't they? And you had several towns that were represented on the budget committee, and it was kind of all over there. Some of the larger communities said, no, they don't want the county to fund it. They prefer that if taxpayers want to fund external agencies and they donate out of their own pockets, while some of the other towns felt that, you know, there's some responsibility to those agencies because they are servicing the citizens of York County. So we came out of that with, there was money put in to fund at least one external agency. The budget passed, however, the commissioners have said they are not going to give that money to the external agency. It's going to go into the general fund, but they are going to do this survey. They've tasked Greg Zinsser, the county manager, with getting feedback from the municipalities on what they want to see done in the future. So that's what drove this survey.
Yeah, I think the county here, and I understand where people are coming at, because it's one step further away from the electorate, and county government is. But on the other hand, yeah, I'd like to see the commissioners and be able to look at a particular agency and say this agency impacts the county, let's say the sheriff's department, and say there may be an agency that does work that, and the sheriff's department is seeing a lot of family violence, and you have an agency that works in that area, and say it makes sense for us to fund that agency because it really impacts our police. So things like that, I'd like to keep that door open to them.
Yeah, I think I'd be inclined to agree with having the county fund it because they can draw from the resources of 29 towns versus individual towns just drawing, from basically the taxpayer source there. It's a wider net that's spread, so it's a smaller ratio of money that they have to, each individual would have to provide.
and it still gives the individual municipality, if the county is spreading X amount over X agencies, and we have a preference of a specific agency, we could still go to that and fund that agency separately from the county. So I think it gives the municipalities some flexibility. At the same time, with those core county groups that are actually providing services that all the communities, well, the majority of the communities are benefiting from, so.
And you've got domestic violence, community action, meals, you know,
Shelter.
for the elderly, shelters, sexual assault victims, child abuse. I mean, these are significant items. I mean, there's people that can bury their head in the sand all they want, but if you've been in that type of profession, or if you're a nurse or a caregiver or something like that, you see all those things that happened, you know, to those people, and you know, it just impacts all communities across the board. You know.
One member of the committee made the point that if you do it at a county level as opposed to a municipal level, then everybody's contributing into that fund. Whereas now if you say county's not going to have any part of that, and it's up to each individual municipality, well, maybe municipality A has 400 residents that are served by the shelter, but they're not willing to put any funding into it. You've got community B that's willing, you know, maybe they've only got 60 residents that have been served, but they're putting in $10,000 into the program. So you've got the municipalities that are willing to put in, even though they may not be using the bulk of the resource, they're paying for those municipalities that are opting not to put any money into it. So.
Okay,
So,
so we
we
have the
voted?
motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried 4-0 with one absent. Next item on the agenda is to discuss and vote to approve the policy on the treasurer's disbursement warrants for employee wage and benefits.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the policy on the treasurer's disbursement of warrants for employee wage and benefits. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried 4-0 with one absent. Item 7, discuss and vote to confirm the action of the May 30th, 2012 executive session.
Didn't we do that?
And we couldn't do it in the executive session because we can't vote. So this just memorializes.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to confirm the action of May 30th, 2012 executive session. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion's carried 4-0. One absent. Item 8, discuss and vote on account balances. What is the pleasure of the board? We have an update.
Can I just add, well, I made a note here, we was talking about accruals. When Chris was in last week, what we'll do is the accruals will hit the GL, but will hit year 12 expenses. So it will not show up in year 13.
We'll have-
And he's gonna come in and show Christina how to
but
code them.
We will know where the accruals have come, what accounts the accruals are affecting.
Yes, they will show up in those accounts.
Are we right on line right now to not have the accrual issue that we had last year?
Well, we're probably always gonna have some, right?
Well, I know we'll have some, but I'm,
No, the department heads are very well known that they had better not be. Any surprises like we had last year?
okay, so
So
all the boards and committees that are
Mm-hmm.
paid under the charter have submitted, they're gonna be submitting their payrolls as well as the per diem and all
Mhm.
that.
Everything that they have, they're going to try to clear all of their invoices that's in there for them by June, either next week or the week after, to get it all cleared out.
Excellent, good.
So the proposal that is in the packet is what you're suggesting that we do now?
Correct, based on,
So I would move that we direct the town administrator and town treasurer to go forward with the journal entries as presented in the packet.
The only one I didn't add was the 16 cents for RSU.
Yeah. Whatever.
So,
If we could get a second, and then...
second for discussion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the account balance transfers as enumerated in our packet. Is there any discussion?
Yes. Nancy, I have a question of, if I'm looking at this right, have we overexpended the budget again this year?
And this is what we knew the general government was going to be.
Right.
The insurances, that came up because we just had to pay, I'm trying to think of the name of the insurance, the volunteers and committees. Even though that's due, we have to pay it by the 30th. But it's for next year, so that will be adjusted out.
Bottom line is what I'm looking at, total fund.
All right. Are you looking at Chris's?
Yeah.
All right, I gotta get back to where he is. Okay.
Projected or budgeted was 11,317, 239.56.
Mm-hmm.
We're underspent.
Oh, we're underspent, okay, never
We're
mind.
on the spent.
Good.
And we're gonna over-collect. Oh, no, I'm sorry, we're gonna under-collect,
Size.
which is the top. But that could change.
I had asked him about excise, and he felt that we would be pretty close.
Because usually this is one of our busier months in
Mhm.
collecting, even though we've been down. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that we weren't overspending the budget.
Oh, no.
We're
In
good.
fact,
No,
he's
we're expecting in pretty good shape.
He's projecting that our fund balance will grow by $137,000 when all's said and done.
I had reversed my budgeted and my projected. I was panicking there for a bit.
Okay.
I mean, overall budget, yes. I mean, this is to correct some of the,
Yeah, there's gonna be some,
yes,
Right, but there's enough there that we can move it around and we're still to the good.
correct.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion's carried 4-0 with one absent. No old business. The chair would entertain a motion for warrants for bills and payroll.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the warrants for bills and payroll. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried 4-0. Pending decisions, the public service announcements. We've heard about that earlier this evening. The driveway opening permit language still being worked on. The board and committee status. We have still some vacancies. The Fair Hearing Committee, there's 2 vacancies. The hiring panel, there's 4 vacancies. Zoning Board of Appeals, 1 vacancy. 2020 Master Planning Committee, 2 vacancies. Finance Committee, 2 vacancies. Planning Board, 1 vacancy as an alternate member. Alternate member. Parks and Rec Committee, 3 vacancies. Conservation Commission, 2 vacancies. Economic Development Committee, there's currently no members with 7 vacancies. And the Public Safety Committee, there's currently no members with 9 vacancies.
Does that include the vacancies that, as of July 1st, Christina? No, okay. But Christina has sent out notification to everybody too.
so everybody's been notified?
Yes.
Okay,
Even
this
though
is,
even-
this one I have here that was in the,
Letter read.
this one I have in the packet was dated 5/10/12, so if we can get an updated one.
It hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed? Okay, thank you. The Water District office space lease.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, we're still waiting on them. Internet and electronic mail policy revisions.
Me, Nancy, and David are gonna get together, but I think after town meeting, so Nancy could catch a breath.
Barriers to prohibit vehicles from driving on the public beach. I know that we discussed that earlier this evening a little bit, that the Conservation Committee has looked into that.
We had said that, we had said a couple weeks ago that we wanted at least something temporarily put up,
Yeah, some stakes.
and it's still not done, so I
It's
would
still
like
not
to
done.
direct the town administrator to make sure that that gets done before the end of the week. If not, we're gonna make Mike sleep down there in his truck.
Because I went by there today and there was distinct tire impressions in that new sand that the road commissioner had put down there. Now, the town, along with the state, expended considerable amount of money for that filtration system that's in place down there. Do you know what the exact figure was? It was in a little over 100,000 or something, wasn't it?
Is that a shovel?
I don't
shovel
know.
ready
I think so.
project?
And at any rate, that was to help with any pollution that was going into the lake. So this benefits everybody in the community. This is a stellar resource that we have down there, and we just don't have, $100,000 to be, putting into another filtration system when we could just as easily prevent people from driving on there. And we'd like to urge everyone that uses the boat launch and the public beach down there, please do not drive your vehicles on the sandy area that's down there, because there is a mesh below that sand that if you rip that, you're in danger of polluting the lake.
How about some spike mats?
Yeah,
That's a
that
good
would-
idea.
That would work too.
Well, that's good except for the sunbathers down there, so.
Just put them on the edge.
Unless we get, what is it, an Indian population, aren't they the nationality that lays on these spiked beds?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, at any rate, please stay off the beach except for, walking. Okay, week's action list. I think you've been jotting stuff down there feverishly on that little green note, so we don't need to go all over those again. Discussion of agenda items. I think we've passed on agenda items to Christina for next
I
week.
think maybe on there, just a kind of an assessment of the whole voting Saturday and today.
Yeah, keep the town.
Anything that we can do differently, how it worked, how it went.
Right. So we'll add that to the agenda. Okay, our reminders. And I've got one here. That's for the 12 town. Okay. Wednesday, June 13th at 6 p.m., the Road Review Committee will meet in the Old Town Hall. Thursday, June 14th at 11:30 a.m., the senior luncheon will take place at the Snowmobile Club. We will have them in after to repair the table in here. Thursday, June 14th at 6:30 p.m., the Old Home Days Committee will meet at the Old Town Hall. Thursday, June 14th at 7 p.m., the Finance Committee will meet at the Old Town Hall. On Saturday, June 16th at 10 a.m. will be annual town meeting at the middle school. Again, that's June 16th at 10 a.m. is the town meeting at the middle school.
And just to say something about town meeting, make sure folks get there a bit early so that they have time to register and get their voting card. Not showing up at 10 o'clock and,
Doesn't give you time to mingle with your friends that you haven't seen since last year at town meeting. The 12-town group that was originally scheduled to meet on June 18th has been changed to June 25th at the town hall. Monday, June 18th at 7 p.m., the Charter Review Commission will meet at the Old Town Hall. On Tuesday, June 19th at 6 p.m., the Selectmen's meeting will take place at the Town Hall with reports from the Bureau of Motor Vehicle Agent, General Assistance, Town Clerk, and Tax Collector. On Wednesday, June 20th, at 5 p.m., the 2020 Master Planning Committee will meet at Central Station. On Wednesday, June 20th, at 7 p.m., the Planning Board will meet at the Town Hall. On Thursday, June 21st, at 7 p.m., the Charter Review Commission will meet again for a public hearing. That will take place here at the Town Hall. There's a number of changes that are being presented. It would really be worth your while to stop in at that meeting. Again, it's a public hearing on June 21st at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall on the Charter. Saturday, June 23rd at 8:30 a.m. is the Cribbage Tournament. They will meet at the Old Town Hall. On Monday, June 25th, 6:30 p.m., the Transfer Station Recycling Committee will meet at the Old Town Hall. On Tuesday, June 26th at 5:30 p.m., the Selectmen's meeting will take place at the Town Hall. There'll be a 5:30 executive session to review general assistance cases, and the 6 p.m. regular meeting will take place with reports from the Fire Department and the EMA. And the Eco Maine date again is Thursday the 14th. So if anyone's interested in that. And if there is nothing else by any member of the board or Christina, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried 4-0.